Hey there and welcome to my channel. So for this video I want to talk about something that we have discussed lightly in the past, which is going to be housing and specifically availability of housing. This has been a topic that has been brought up to me many times by newer players who are looking to get into the game, or by veteran players who may have owned a house or lost it or just never had one in the first place. But rather than saying an issue that we already know is an issue, I want to take the time to actually flesh out some of the statistics and actually show some evidence for what we're talking about, just to get a real grasp on the problem. Likewise, before I even get into the statistics, I want to say that this video has a lot of footage evidence that I recorded as I was taking down these notes that I'm going to be doing the stats on, and so primarily I'm thinking that this video is going to be probably content-wise maybe 10-ish minutes in duration. I know that the video itself is a little bit longer, but that's just because there's so much evidence packed in the back. So starting out with the most basic fact that I'm pretty sure everyone knows is that in order to get access to the housing system, where it involves all these crafted items, all of these looted items, so much customization and personality, you really do need to own a house, or alternatively an apartment. However, it does, or rather to say, it is an understatement of a century to compare something like my large plot or my medium plot to something like an apartment. Even the difference between an apartment and a small house is staggering. That isn't even getting into the fact that you are not able to access systems like the gardening system with an apartment. And so when we have new players coming into this game wanting something like an FC house, actually that's another thing you can't do with an apartment, then you see that they are hitting this wall over and over again where they just cannot even access the system. So let's talk about some of the numbers. So we have 4 districts per server right now. We have one Kugane, we have one in Gridania, Limsa Luminsa, and ul'dah. Each of these districts is going to have in particular 21 wards. Each ward is going to have 60 plots total in it between the district and the sub-district. And so you have ultimately each server has 4 times 21 times 60 houses is going to be a total of 5,040 houses. Of these houses, we know that each district or sub-district has a total of 3 larges, and so each ward between district and sub-district has 6 larges. So how many larges each server has is 4 times 21 times 6 equals 504 larges through each and every server, meaning that essentially anyone with a large is quite literally in the top 10% of houses. And I want to stress something, is that the server limit is something where, yes, we have cross-world transfer now, but to people who aren't aware of it now or newer players, you are not actually able to buy a house on another server. Say you choose the Gilgamesh, you're only going to be able to get a large plot on Gilgamesh, and so you're restricted really to those 504 largest through each server. But as the data that I'm going to show is going to suggest, is that you're probably not going to get one even if we could do that. But more on that in a minute. So now let's talk about mediums. In each of the districts, whether it be Limsa, Luminsa, or Kugane, we have 7 mediums per district. So we have 4 multiplied by 21 multiplied by 14 equals 1,176, which is going to make up roughly 23% of the houses that we have in total. Meaning that mediums and larges, we have 23 for mediums and 10% for larges, meaning 33% of houses are medium or large, and inversely, 67% of houses are small houses. Meaning that just off the get-go, if you're wanting a medium or a large FC house, reality is you probably have a very low chance of getting them in the first place, if I'm just being super blunt. Now, it would be disingenuous for me to continue this video without mentioning that we're most likely in the future getting Ishgardian Housing District, which I would honestly expect at approximately gonna be the same number of houses as the other districts, so we're looking at 21 multiplied by 60 equals a total of 1,260 houses. Specifically, we have 21 multiplied by 6 equals 126 larges being added. Then we have 21 multiplied by 14, it's going to be 294 mediums, and then that's going to have us with 841 smalls, just basic subtraction. And so I want to say that during this video I very intentionally napped this afternoon so that I could record this at this time. And so we are looking currently at the time of about 12 o'clock, 12:30ish Mountain Standard Time. Or if you're going to be looking in terms of UTC, this is going to be UTC -7. And that this was recorded specifically on June 16th in the morning, so we are looking at bright and early on a weekday morning, and I really wanted to get a good feel about how, I don't want to say the word, but how desperate are people to get a house? Like, what kind of numbers are we seeing people actually come out to these houses to actually try and get one? Because we're talking about really early in the morning on a weekday, and likewise, if you're still out at this time, that's a pretty big deal. Likewise, all evidence is video captured and going to be shuffled at the very end of this video. So please refer to that if you want to double check my numbers, and if I got something wrong, please let me know. I am more than happy to be corrected. In fact, please do. Please do. I just want to have as open of a dialogue as possible, and I am happy to be corrected. So in terms of Gilgamesh open plots, which is my home server, we have only one small in ul'dah, of which it actually had quite a good collection of people outside of it, which actually really surprised me, because if you look actually at the top right hand corner of my screen, you can see what time it is in Mountain Standard Time Zone. So likewise, that is pretty crazy to see this number of people out there. Adamantois had absolutely no houses open. Cactar had one open in Limsa Lominsa, and this was likewise another small house, and there was a few people out there, not too many, but definitely enough that I was like, this is crazy for this early on a weekday. Then on Ferry, there was one open in Lavender Beds and one open in Shirogane. Likewise, both of those were small. And so in the Lavender Beds one, I noticed that there was a good collection of people. In fact, it's weird because this is actually the house right in front of my medium, and I was like, oh my god. And then in Shirogane, I don't know if it just opened. I'm actually going to go back there as I'm recording this audio and see if more people got there, because I think it might have literally just been vacated. And so yeah, coming back here, I can see that there is definitely a whole lot more people. And I just want to remind everyone, this is literally first thing on Tuesday morning. And then we had one house open, a small in Limsa Lominsa on Genova. And then in terms of Midgardsormr, there was nothing open. In terms of Sargantanaz, nothing. And in terms of Siren, nothing. So likewise, this leads us to a pretty bleak looking picture, because this means on the entire data center we have a grand total of 5 small houses open and nothing else. So just taking all of the 8 servers on this data center, so we have Gilgamesh, Adamantois, Cactar, Ferry, Genova, Midgardsormr, Sargantanaz, and Siren, that's 8 servers. And so doing 8 multiplied by 5,040 means that we have 40,320 houses on the entire data center. And out of all of those houses, we literally have 5. Meaning that we don't even have 1% of the houses open. We don't even have 0.1% of the houses. We have 0.0124 blah 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 of percent of the houses open right now. And we have literally no larges and no mediums, and so likewise those are going to be 0%. And so likewise, this even means that the least populated servers, because when I was going on to some of the less populated servers on the data center, I was expecting to see more houses, but even the least populated servers on the data center literally were like packed. And so this is indicating that, imagine like if the smaller servers can get packed, then when we're talking about larger servers like Cactar or Gilgamesh, it's kind of very difficult to imagine that we're not in a complete housing crisis right now. And likewise, this leads to a significant amount of issues, because it's just like, what about people who just want to get into the housing system for a personal house, where they really like decorating? And honestly, the housing system is so detailed, so involved, and so honestly awesome. It's something that I myself really do enjoy, and I'm looking forward to making a series just on that. And they can't access it. free companies that are, say, coming over from games like Elder Scrolls Online or World of Warcraft, they can't get a free company house either. Meaning that they can't do things like FC events, they can't do airships, they can't do submarines, they can't do they don't really even have a place to really call their home for their free company. And likewise, this boils into a whole lot of other issues like gardening, as I said before. And so we're really in a situation where I think that even though I don't know how exactly we should solve this problem, we're also facing the fact that ultimately this is a problem, and I just want to shed light on it. And hopefully running through this little experiment showed everyone that, hey, this is still something going on, this is still something worth attention. And that is basically the point of this video. Is just I went through everything first thing in the morning even, and our numbers are pretty bleak. I mean, if we're looking to see is Final Fantasy XIV still alive, I mean, obviously, I some people question it. Like, I do have some newer players be like, is it very active? And it's just like, I think that this is one of the many, maybe not even the best, but one of the many ways that you could rate that. And yeah, that's not a question, but we're having an issue where it's just like, we need some kind of solution to this. And I'm not fully convinced that just adding 1,260 houses to Ishgard is going to be the solution to that. And this isn't even getting into the fact that with all of these houses, that we are only getting a few larges per server, about 504. That's not going to be enough to satisfy all the demand, because likewise, a lot of people want a large for their personal. A lot of free companies want a large for their house because that gives them more availability to do things like guild rooms. I mean, yeah, you have individual rooms. I mean, like, just more fleshed out rooms, more fleshed out architecture and stuff like that for events. And ultimately for them, that's not really available. Anyhow, everything after this is just going to be evidence, just what I was collecting. Sorry if that footage is a little laggy. I unfortunately had a few things running in the background, like a server art project I've been working on, so please forgive me, but there is all of the evidence there, and likewise, if I got anything wrong in this video, please let me know. But anyhow, that is all for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I greatly appreciate your viewership. And as always, if you liked this video or it helped you in any way, please consider hitting that like button and annihilating that subscribe button. Anyhow, that is all for this one, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Take care and have an absolutely fantastic day.
Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their girls with their nails done now. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. girls with their nails done now.